So we now have the app working. So when we click on the screen, dots appear. So technically we are painting. However, it doesn't look particularly well done or well made. So what we need to do now is go back onto the main canvas and when main canvas dragged. That way, when we are looking at the app, instead of just having to click individual and joining the dots up, we can just click and drag. So if we were using our finger, it would just gradually move along there. So this is the statement that we need. When the main canvas is dragged, do. So very similar to the way that this one has been set up over here, so when it's been touched. Now, as you can see here, there are an awful lot of variables that need to be set up. So much like when we set this one and we had to define where X and where Y were, because your finger is going to be dragged from one end of the screen to another, we need to establish where X and Y start, where it's previously just been, and where it's going and where it's finished. Okay, so from that we need to set where X has started, and then we need to establish, so we need to close that off, and then we need to do the same for Y. We also need to do it so where X and where Y have started, so we need to say where it's starting from. Now this previous X there and previous Y, they count for immediately where your finger has been. So it start there, so 1 for nothing there, and it will just act as a counter to say where your finger has come from, to ensure that there isn't any bugs or glitches in it. So we need to establish these two as well, and then current X and current Y. So where is your finger finishing? Where is the mouse finishing? Okay, so now we've established all of these variables here. So where X is going to start, where Y started, exactly where your finger has come from, and where it ended up, to make sure that we're getting the correct movement on the finger. And then we need to make sure that we are drawing a circle. So we need to go back onto the main canvas, we need to call, and we need to draw a circle. Okay, but we already have one here, so I'm just going to drag this out for a second and duplicate it. So I'll put that in the bin. Move that one back, and I'm just going to put that one underneath there. Okay, now as you can see there are a few errors. Draw a circle, says X, and get Y. And that means that we have a few errors. So let's just remove that here from a second. And what we need to start looking for now is where the circle is going to go to and where the coordinates need to be. So here we are just establishing where X and Y are, but because we're drawing a line, there are several different areas that need to be. So we can just put that into the bin, go back, and then we need to establish drawing a line, which is here. Okay, so unlike before where we just were able to draw a circle, now we need to draw a line. So for x1 we need to have the previous value of x, which can just come from here. So just get x and place it in there. Now for x2 we want the current value. So we have established all of these variables here. If we click on one of these, we can pick and choose between them. And now we need to call on them. So where is the line going to go? So we need to find out where it's previously been and where it's going to go to. That means from point A to point B, it will join and connect the dots. And likewise, we can do the same for Y. So previous Y, and I will just drag this one in. I realize that it's the wrong one, and I will just change it that way to current Y. Okay, and that will allow us to draw a line. So what I'll do is I'm going to restart the emulator and I'll pause the video. Okay, so here's the emulator loaded up, and I will just click and drag my mouse, and there we go. So that proves that the coding has worked. So looking back on the code, we can just touch on the canvas in order for it to work, like so, which produces quite a large, because we've established the radius of 6 pixels, and likewise we can just draw a long curve there. So next video what we'll do is we will establish how to change the colours from blue, green, red and to black.